We are at the beginning of the AI revolution.
But concerns are growing about AI replacing some human workers.
I fear for the next generation.
Some jobs will go away. Many jobs will be new and invented. But one thing for sure, every job will be changed as a result of AI.
In a world of AI, don't forget to be human, and to be a human, I think that's important. And I think that a lot of that's lost. It's certainly lost in the younger generation. What's so interesting is that when you've got such a juggernaut of these companies now, and I speak when I was at Lend-Lease and worked for a lot of did a lot of work with the banks, the 4 top banks, and even Macquarie, and more contracting positions, but got a really good understanding of what goes on inside. And when a company gets that size, and I'm talking not 500, I'm talking 10, 15, 20,000 people. What happens in turn? We did a lot of work with Myers-Briggs and psych assessments with a lot of our employees over the years. I was at Lend-Lease. You've got such a system there, and its process and management systems are critical. And what happens is that when the market shifts, is that you've got to, and if it's a public company, you're at the behest of a board and shareholders. And so what you're trying to achieve, you're trying to achieve a 20% profit on cost, and the market shifts where payroll increases, cost to produce, competition comes in and changes your model where tomorrow we're only going to earn 9% profit on cost. So, well, hang on, we need to get back to 20. So where do we cut and invest? Where do we cut, invest and spend? And so what happens then, I felt that, because it's a great example of what we're doing now under Hamilton Chase. What we run now today with the amount of capital I manage would have taken, on 12 people, would have taken 300 back 20 years ago. So what's with AI and with these companies now trying to embrace how to cut costs, which means, as an example, what 4 people were doing in the marketing department on level 5, we can now get 2, and we believe now that we can do 10 times the output and half the wages. So that's a saving, and that's a benefit, an outcome of AI, artificial intelligence. The key is that that's a saving. That's not an improvement of productivity. That's an efficiency outcome. So the smart AI adopters are using artificial intelligence to embrace and communicate with their clients, and embracing, bringing them in as a way of working together and sharing that AI. It's almost like the smarter ones I've noticed the last 6 to 18 months are starting to interweave their systems and process with the client. Now that's extremely clever. And that's what we've tried to do over the years, is to bring them in with their dashboard, my dashboard internally, or us as a corporation, is that our clients share part of that dashboard. Things that, and they feel a part of it. So it's interconnected. And I think that's one of the things that I found that, and now, what is the outcome? I mean, the pros and the cons. Well, the negatives are that as corporations expand and become more aware of this, unemployment goes through the roof. I don't care what anyone says, unemployment is a massive threat with AI. And will there be other jobs for those people? Not in the short term. What I'm also excited about on the positive side is productivity, and the one, like for example, the interfacing with Apple as a client, you couldn't get a better interfacing client corporation, I don't think, in modern technology today, I don't think you could get, that's a great example. Netflix is a great example. But banks, their relationship has still been, you're a number, but we just laid off 10,000 people because we can do it better. But you're still a number. So they haven't caught up with that. But Netflix is a great example. Apple's a great example of that in relation to AI. Oh, 100%. And it also moves. It shifts all the time. I mean, really, generally in principle, you need to get a revenue model right in the business before you start. You need to know how many clients you want to obtain by a certain goal and how much you're going to charge them. I mean, that's the revenue model is critical to get that. And you've got something that's saleable and the product's marketable. And there's a demand for it. Operational costs and so forth, what they were 10 years ago will be a lot different to what they are today. But the savvy business person will now look at both ends, because last thing you want is an unbelievable AI-driven, low-cost model that did have 100 people that now runs 20, but we're not engaged with our clients and our customers. So it's about, and we're in a competitive world. How do banks shift clients from Westpac to ANZ? How does that, or they don't shift? What seems to be now with the four banks, as an example in business, is that they get complacent. We've got 22% market share, 90% market share, 28% market share, and that's where we are. I will go, what happens internally, we don't want any more home loans, but we want to be able to do more commercial credit. So we'll go and compete with NAB, or we'll go and compete with Westpac. So that's what happens. So those efficiency things internally now becomes easy with AI. But I think the key thing is, the hardest thing I think in business is that client demand. I think that is being a standout and being, well, you'd be a fool to go anywhere else. I think that, and I think AI is that creativity and getting the attention of a consumer or a potential future customer. I'm so excited about that and how people react to it. And I think that right now we can see if you get a letter from an AI-driven draft from a company, you pick it up straight away, and so do we. But I think that the technology and the AI on who gets there and uses technology. The other thing to consider, of course, is what about when they're all pitching the same spiel and they're using the same interface, same API, same AI, font, text, narrative, and the four bank letters you line up and they're almost the same. Will that happen? That's not going to con consumers. You need to be really innovative on actually how you could bring them in and say, look, we can do all this in-house, and at least give us a go with a money-back guarantee. That Bunnings motto really helped Bunnings. Can't beat it, 10%. It really did help. People think, well, why wouldn't we do that? And it helped Bunnings. I mean, now if you're going to go and buy any tools or anything like that, Bunnings is the only place. It's the first place, probably the last place you'd go. They've done it well, I think. But the AI is going to be about why they're focusing on the psychology of the consumer. That's the key, the psychology. And I've done a lot of reading on that space, and I think what does the persuasion equation and what are the key things that a human makes a decision on, that process, rather than, yes, I'll do business with you now, and I believe you and trust you, or opposed to maybe I'll get back to you, let's catch up in a week, or no, I absolutely not. Those three things in business, and I was just saying to someone this week, the preparation, one thing that I learned at Lend-Lease and through my career is the preparation when I'm going to speak to someone about a deal or a transaction or a business meeting. I'm very well prepared about the content and the individual and the questions. You won't stump me. And so then that's why my meetings have been very successful. I don't think a lot of people actually spend a lot of time on that, but understanding what the consumer wants. I think that's where AI is going to be a big help for business. I've never done any transaction or any had any meaningful relationship with a great deal of many wonderful people. It's all been face to face, over a board table, and belly up to the table and communicate like a human. Right? None of this email and the younger generation, they're terrible. Text. Do anything without trying to meet. Why meet? Just text. I mean, so my community, well, you know what I'm people who know me, I'll get on the phone and state my claim and be very clear about what my intentions are and what my thoughts are, and then document it in an email. I won't send an email out. So when I get a complicated issue or a fairly large transaction, I'll get an email. So I'll just call the trustees and the directors and say, this is, forget about section 1, 3 and 5, this is what we should do, boom, 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 and talk to them, and then document it. It's far more, less clinical.